Hello guys and welcome to another video. Today we are going to learn how to create this amazing website from scratch. So basically we're going to have a desktop version here, as you can see, with this simple menu here. We also have some text and these two panels over here. And for the responsive design, now is if we try to go maybe iPhone X, we can see the text over here, also the image. Now it is on top, and we have this nice menu here that you can also navigate through. So yeah, basically this is pretty much how we are gonna be building, and let's get started. Okay guys, so first and first, I'm gonna show you really quick what I have in the folder for this project. So basically I already have the images that we're gonna use. uh, I'm gonna leave a link in the description for this project so you can go ahead and download these images for you. And also I have here a index HTML file and also a main CSS file. Okay, so the first thing to do here is to start an HTML structure first. And we are going to import really quick our CSS file that we have here. So basically this is how you will import a CSS file inside the project. We can save this, and yeah, with this we will have the CSS on the project. So now I'm gonna create here main tip for our entire project. So everything is going to be inside this tip component. Okay, so let me start first by creating a div that we are going to add a grid class to it. And from here I'm gonna start adding the product counting. In this case, the product counting is going to have the text basically. So we're going to call this product counting. Very simple. And we're also going to have a product image panel over here. Okay, so for the desktop version, this one is going to be on the left and the image on the right. And for mobile, the image is going to be on top and the product counting is going to be at the bottom. Okay, so let's start by adding some text here. So we're gonna start adding this text over here and also this image, and then we're gonna move to adding this image over here. So really quick, I'm gonna open this again and I'm going to start adding an h3 for the Bits Studio Word. Okay, and I'm gonna name the class for this to be title1. I know the name is kinda lazy, but you know, it works. So now for the title2, in this case I'm gonna call this design. Okay, and this is going to be an h1. I want to add also an h2 with the class of title3, and this is going to be for sound. And I'm going to add an h3 now. This is going to be called turn for emotion, and the class for this will be title4. Okay, so now let's add the image over here. I think it doesn't really matter in this case where we add the image, because basically this image is going to be floating on this panel. Okay, so I'm gonna add the bits image class for this, and the source is basically going to be inside images and this bits image. Okay, so we navigate through images and bits. We can close the emg tag, and now we add our features list, whatever you want to call it, but this is an ul element, and we can also name this to be features, and here we add just li tags, and this is our winning sound. Okay, we have another li called up to 40 hours of battery life, and we also have another one called fast fuel in this capitalized technology technology. And if we save that, we should be able to see it here on the screen. Okay, perfect. Now let's add this product image really quick. So this is an EMG tag, and we are going to name it uh, product EMG, and also we are going to add an alcohol bits studio, right? And I'm forgetting about the image itself. So this is inside images, and this is called I think it's called main. Let me see. Yeah, main. All right. And yeah, I forgot the alt here. It's not really required like in this case, but it is always a good idea to have this alt text here. So let me refresh, and we can see now the image here. So now let's start by adding some styles to the project. First thing to do is to add a variable here for the primary color. Actually, it's not like you need to do this. You can use the color just for that, but I don't know. I like to do it this way. And now one thing to do always with the project is to remove margins on the body, and also I'm gonna add a font family for the entire project. So I'm gonna use this font family for everything. So if I save this, we can see now that we don't have the margins, and we also have this font family for the for all of the text inside the project. So now one thing to do as well here is add what it's called box sizing to be border box for this. So this is a really nice ways that you can use, apply it to everything basically. So yeah, and we can start now working on this. Okay, so let's first add some class for some CSS, sorry, for our grid. So let's make this a flex display, and also let's add a flex direction to be column, and let's add the height to be 100% on case. So nothing too different in here, but yeah, one thing to also know is that this main like properties that we are passing here are for the mobile version. Then we are going to add some breakpoints for like bigger screens and everything. So this is all based first for mobile, if that makes sense at all. So we are going to start by adding some CSS for the product image. So we can make this width to be 100%, the height to be 50%. In this case, because we want to take only half of the screen. Okay, remember this is for mobile. Now we name this product img. I think we can remove this. I don't think it's really necessary to have a lot of classes for this. We can use product image, just access to that image using this img. The width 100%, so it fits the parent in this case. Okay, great. So now let's add object fit property. In this case, this is cover. Okay, and the object position is going to be center. And if we refresh the screen really quick, we can see this result. Actually, this object fit, and this is not object fit, just object fit. It is going to make sure that it extends on the size of the parent, in this case the product image. So on mobile we don't see that much difference, but on desktop, if you don't add this, you will see like the image being stretched and all of that. So it is important to add these two properties here. Okay, perfect. So now let's move on to the product content. Okay, so I want to make sure the product content have a text of 1 in this case, and I'm just going to add a background color to be our primary color in here. So if we refresh, we see this red color, and we also need to make sure that the order of this is 2, because remember, our image, it is going to be on top for mobiles and the content at the bottom. Okay, so here we have the product content, and let me see, I think one thing that I forgot to add in here is a container for this product content. So yeah, I'm gonna add that really quick, and the reason for this is because we are gonna need this container later to fit this image and text on the right position, and you will see later why. But in this case, yeah, we just add this container here really quick. Okay, for this product content, we just add container here, and we make sure that this is a relative position, and this is just to so we can just move this bits image based on this container. Okay, so the width of this is going to be 100%, and the height is going to be 100% as well. In this case, we are going to make this container to have a max width of 400 pixels for mobile, and we're going to add a padding of 24, and we're going to make sure that this is center, this for mobile, and probably for also like tablets and iPads and all of that. Okay, perfect. So now let's just change a little bit the size of this bits image, so it doesn't look that like this weird. So let's just take this bits image, let's make this a absolute position, and the width of this is going to be 45%. So we try to refresh, you can see how it looks in here. So one thing to also add before I forget is that our main, I think, needs to have, in this case, height of 100% of the screen, so it fits this 50% that we added for the product image. And this flex one, it will just make sure that it fits the rest of the space here. Okay, perfect. So now let's see what else we can work. We were working on the bits image, so let's add some position here. So top 0, right 0, so it will move to this side, and we add a transform and we translate -10 pixels and 65 pixels, and if we refresh, you can see here that we have this image on this position, and this is very much what we want for mobile versions. Okay, so now let's work a little bit on the text, but first I would like to make all of the text to be white in this case, because pretty much everything is going to be white except for our menu for mobile here. So let's just make sure that our PALI and also H1, H2, H3, I think H4 we're also using it here. It has a color of white. Great. So now let's start first with the title one. Let's just add here title one. With the title one, let's add a font size of 20 pixels, and also let's add a margin bottom of 6 pixels. Okay, nothing too much that we change here, but let's move to the title 2. And title 2, the font size is going to be that. Okay, let's just copy and paste this over here, and the font size is going to be 48 pixels, and in this case we are going to remove the margins for this part over here. So margin 0, okay, design there, and then let's add another one for a title 3 that it is for sound. Alright, so for sound we're gonna use 36, I believe, for this, and we also remove the margins. So let's refresh. Okay, and for title 4 basically it's gonna be the same as this Bits Studio. So Bits title 4, and the font size is 20. We remove the margins because we don't want a margin there, and let's add these features. So for features, remember that this is a UL tag here. So for this we are going to remove, just really quick, the list style for this, and we are going to make it to be none. Okay, and we can also, I think it has a padding here, and remove it as well. Yeah, perfect. So now let's move to the features. In this case we added features, and features needs a space between the text and image and all of that, so we just adding a margin top to be 60 pixels, and we add the font size 16 pixels. All right, and here we have our basic structure for mobile version. So next thing will be to work on the menu here. So yeah, let's do that right now. Okay, so here in our index we are going to add a nav tag with the class of navbar. We are also going to add a container and we are also going to add two more classes, one for the top bar, and basically this has our logo image. So we add our logo image over here. We insert the image, we go to images, and we add the logo over here, and we add an health over here, and we can close this. We also need the menu button here, so we add an I tag here, and we also add an ID, and the reason for this ID is because in JavaScript we are gonna need to access to this element in order to expand our menu later. So we add that, and we also add the class with the same name, and basically we can close it. We can see here the bits image, and the menu. We still need to add the icon over here, but we are gonna be doing that with CSS. And then we add also a menu over here, and we also need to have an ID for this. I know we can access with the class, but I like to access that with the ID. And basically here we have an li, and we have a link. Basically we can make this link to be just empty at the moment. So we add headphones. Okay, I'm gonna paste 3 more times this, just copy and paste the text that I have for this, and support, and we can refresh, and you don't see the text over there, but it is there basically. So we just need to add some style, so it looks good for mobile version. So we can do that here before our grid. So first thing is to make our navbar to be, in this case, absolute for the screen, so it respects the space of this image over here. Okay, and the width of this would be 100%. Oh, 100%. Then we also have our container, and we have our top bar here, so we can start working with the top bar. So for the top bar, we can make this to be flex, and we can also make the direction to be round. In this case is these two, this and the menu later, and the justify content is going to be space between, and we are going to align the items to be the center, and we are going to add some patterns for this. So we refresh, it looks like this. Our menu for the button here, or menu button, it should be there. So yeah, let's work on first our logo. So let's just add the class over here and make the width 60 pixels, same as the height is going to be same thing. Okay, and let's work on our menu button. So for this, we are going to add a width and a height for this, and I added these values before because I needed to know the right size for this, and I also have the icon for that. So basically here we are adding a background image to the menu button here, as you can see. probably here. So yeah, this is how we add our icon, and I just need to add some position of this. So we make the position to be on the center and the background size to be 30 pixels, so we match the width and height. And in this case we add as the index of 101. And the reason for that is because we need to make sure that we can tap this icon over here. So yeah, it's really simple. We just had a background image with a position and a size, and with that we get this amazing result over here. So now let's work on our menu over here. So first thing is to the menu for mobile versions. Okay, so let's add a padding. We can start adding a padding over here with a 24 pixels. Okay, and a background color of white. Okay, perfect. So now we have here a UL menu, so we need to access to these LIs. So back to menu, LI, and here we make the alignment of the text to be on the center, and we yeah, I think the color of the text is going to be on this A back over there. So perfect. Let's just access to this, and let's add a color of black to the text. Let's refresh. Awesome. So now what we need to do is to add some space between these links over here. So for that we're going to do it in the LI. So I don't do it here because I don't want to apply the margin to our last child. So in this case I'm just gonna skip the last child and add a margin on the bottom of 12 pixels. So if I refresh, you will see this result. I don't like these lines on the text, so I'm just gonna remove the text decoration for that. So the text is going to be none in this case, and I'm gonna make the font weight to be a little bit bolder. So font weight is going to be bold. So I refresh and we get this amazing result. Okay, perfect. So now we are going to start working into the animations for the menu. So in this case the way that we are going to do this is by just adding an extra class here when we click it to make sure that it is open, and we remove that extra class that we're going to call open in this case to hide the menu. So basically our menu is going to start by being hidden. Okay, so we are not gonna need to add the open class in this case, but for this make the transform origin in this case to be on top, and the reason for this is because we want the scale, because in this case we want to apply a scale. We want the scale to start here on top to the bottom, so the this case is top, and the transform in this case is going to be scale y to be 0, and in this case you can see that it is no longer there, so we can also add an opacity of 0. Okay, perfect. We can also add a transition for this, and we want everything takes 2 seconds, 0.2 seconds, sorry, AC in out. Yeah, this is the first step that we want to have here. but when we open the menu, in this case we add this open class, we want the opacity to be 1 and we want to transform the scale on here to be 1, and we can test that by adding the open class here on the menu. Okay, as you can see, it is kind of like working, or not really, because it's moving from right to left to the bottom, if that makes sense. So let's just check really quick if I'm doing something wrong here. I don't know, maybe everything seems to be working fine in this case. I added the scale here to be when it's open. Okay, so maybe what I'm thinking is that I need to add when I'm adding this open class later, should work. Okay, no, it's not quite working. Okay, no, yeah, so I think it is working, because here I'm just testing the scale. So in this case, you can see when we enable it and disable it, we can see the animation being played. So it should work just fine. So we can remove this open here, because we want this first state to be here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now let's add some JavaScript in order to make this this menu over here to make it work. So we're just going to add some script over here, and we want to access to the menu button. So we use document get element by ID, and remember that we named this button to be menu button. Okay, so now we call this menu button, and we add an event listener, in this case for the click event, and we add an arrow function here. We just close it. Now we want to access to the menu itself, this one, and the reason of that is because we want to add or remove the class in this case. So we get element by ID. Okay, didn't want to do that, but okay. So now we get the menu class. We declare a new const called menu, and we pass the menu dot class name. Okay, perfect. So if the menu class is equals to menu, so that means that it is closed. So we now pass to the menu a new class, name called menu open, and if not, we pass a new class name called just menu in this case. So we can just refresh and see how it works. As you can see, it's working pretty nice in this case. So yeah, this is pretty much all we need to do for the mobile version. So now let's move to the desktop version, and for that I'm gonna make the screen now bigger so we can see the desktop version. So yeah, we just need to make a couple of changes. Here, move it to the left, and then this to the right. Remove this icon and just align this in a vertical position, the menus. Yeah, let me just go to visual here over really quick and make this bigger so we can see what we need to do. Okay, so for this I'm gonna add some breakpoints in order to make changes after that size. So I'm gonna start first with the large screen. In this case, I'm using 1024 pixels for this, and this is like the first breakpoint that I want to use, and I also want to use another breakpoint that it is going to be 1448 pixels will be like the next breakpoint. I also added like a small breakpoint for this image over here uh, for small screens, because let me just show you really quick here. So let's say that we are here. I want to make like still on this resolution, want to make this bits image a little bit bigger, so I added also um, like a small breakpoint just for that here. So let me just add that over here, and yeah, so that image, that small change of the image is our bits studio image. So we call it here, okay, and we add a width of 55%, and I also want to transform. Okay, so let me just see how it looks with this. You guys can see the change over here really quick. So as you can see, after this breakpoint, I need to also move the image a little bit, so I have the values for that here. So transform, and I'm gonna translate this 20 pixels and 35 pixels. Okay, just save it, go back, refresh, and now it is on a better position here. So now for the bigger screen, I want to start changing after 1024 pixels, so we should have a breakpoint over here and see how it looks. So yeah, let's go back to the code here really quick and let's start working with this. Our first thing is to start with this container over here. For the mobile version, we are basically not working or adding any extra CSS properties over on this container. So for desktops, we want that to make everything to be on the same line, so we use this flex for that. The flex direction is going to be raw. We are going to align the items to the center, and we add an extra padding in this case. Oh my god, padding, we add 48 pixels, 0 0 and 48 pixels. And we also want to add a limit on the width, so the width for this is going to be 1448 pixels, and we want to center this, so we add 0 and auto here, and this will look something like this. At the moment we cannot see the menu because it has this animation added over here. So yeah, let's go back to the code here really quick. I want to remove like the padding that we have for this top bar because for mobile, let me just show you here really quick. On the top bar we added some paddings, but now the paddings are being added on this container, so I'm just going to remove this padding over here. I want to make also the logo smaller, so make this to be 45 pixels and 45 pixels also on the height. And now here the interesting part, remember that our menu is being hidden. Remember that by default we have this menu with the opacity of 0 and the opacity of 1 when it opens, so we want all the time to be open in this case for mobile. So we make our menu and we replace it with opacity always to be 1. We want also the transform to be L on 0 on 1. Sorry, actually it's 1 because we want them to be open always. The background, we don't need a background because it's white at the moment, so we can use transparent, and we remove all the paddings that we have there because we added 24 for the mobile version. So this is how it is looking at the moment. So now we need to make these elements to be inline and also remove this icon that we have over here. So let's see how we can implement that. So first thing is to remove the padding that we added, or not the padding, like the margin that we added at the bottom, and that we, my god, what am I typing, last child, that we added on everything except on the last child. So margin bottom 0, because now we want them to be in the vertical position, and we also going to make them to be display inline block. Okay, perfect. And we also are going to add some margins, but let me just show you really quick how it looks at the moment. Here now it is on a I would say vertical, but it is horizontal position, and yeah, we want to add some space between these links. We want the text to be white as well, and we need to remove this icon. Okay, so for that we use the li as well, and we add some margins. So margin, make 0 0 100 pixels. Okay, we want the text, remember, to be white, so color white on the text, and we remove any margins that we add before, and we want our menu button to be hidden, so we make them to be displaying none to hide the button there. And as you can see, we have this result. As you can see also, the menu, it is respecting the limit on the width that we put here. So you can see it makes the change from mobile to desktop. And yeah, I think this is pretty much all we need to do for the menu here. So now let's work on this really quick and see how we can make it look nice. Yeah, on the code here, after menu button, we have a grid. The grid, it is basically this container over here. All right, so we make the flex direction of this flex direction to be raw position, or raw position, and with this we will get a result like this. Okay, so yeah, now we need to fix a couple of things here. We have our product image, right, that we want this product image to be on the right side, product image. So we make the height to be 100% now this time. Last time was 50%, remember. We want the width now to be 50%, and the position in this case is gonna change now to be 2. So now it looks something like this, and this is going to remain 50% because basically it has the flex one property that it fits the rest of the screen basically. So yeah, now we need to move this text down here. So back here in the code, we are going to work on the product content. So for the product content, no, we don't need to add the width there, but the height I believe is not 100%, so we make virtual height in this case. And we also need to in the container here, but I'm forgetting to add the product content. We need to make sure that the product content has a relative position. The container, sorry, we add some paddings, and these paddings going to move the container down, as you are going to see later. And for this I want a max width of 500 pixels, and I want this to move to the right. As you can see now, this is the original design, and this is the design that we added. As you can see, it keeps the limit of the width here, and it is basically aligned here to the right position. So now it is time to start moving this bits image a little bit. So for that, I'm gonna remove that extra space and the bits image. Alright, so now the width it is going to increase to a 70%, and we are going to move it to 100 pixels and 16 virtual height or viewport height. And this is the position that we have now. Yeah, as you can see, it scales really well for all of the screens. So now after we hit the next breakpoint, we need to make the text a little bit bigger, but before that we need to move this text a little bit down. So for that we use the features, and we margin top this to be 120 pixels, and perfect. So now the next breakpoint will be 1448 pixels. So here we should start seeing the next result. So for this we're gonna make changes pretty much on the text a little bit and the images a little bit. So yeah, first thing is to change now the max width that we add to this container. Now it's gonna be 600 because now we are going to increase also this text size. So we just do that. Now for the bits image, we are going to increase also the size of that. So no, not the size. I think the size is it's okay, but the translation is to change because in this case, when we make the width of this bigger, now the position changes, as you can see. So we want to move this a little bit to the right, and also this text I think is gonna be on top of this image. It will leave it like this. So so we're just gonna move it a little bit there, and also we need to increase the size of the text. So for that we are gonna go to titles and basically copy and paste that and change only the text size. So for the title 1, 26, title 2 is going to be 72 in this case. Okay, perfect. So now for the title 3 is going to be 48 pixels, and for the title 4 is going to be the same as the title 1, 26 pixels. And yeah, we get this result. And I think this is pretty much all we need to do to make this work. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and also hit the like button. That would really help me a lot. And yeah, see you guys on the next one.